so by having the x out in front, we know our first answer is x equals 0. And you find your remaining answers by doing the quadratic formula. All right, so I'm going to type this in my calculator. It's going to be a big number, I'm guessing. 121 minus 4 times 3 times negative 4. All right, I got 169 again. Did y'all get 169 as well? So that turns into 13 again. So it's 11 plus or minus 13 over 6. I will stop and let y'all find both answers from there on your calculator. Start. All right, so question, can we do quadratic formula on this problem? No, you can't. You can only do quadratic formula if you got an x squared. x4, you can't do it. So the only way we can do this one is if we factor it out. So what can we multiply in the front? Here and here, if it's got to equal x to the 4th. X squared and x squared. What can we multiply in this spot if it's got to equal 4? Let's think about it. Your only options are 1 times 4 or 2 times 2, right? Yeah. Which set of these factors can we add up together and get negative 3? Or subtract? Yeah, if you subtract these, you get 0. That ain't going to work. It's got to be 1 and 4. So 1 times 4, doesn't matter which one goes first. Okay, your signs, are they going to be the same or different? Second sign's a minus. Remember, check the board. When your second sign's a minus, signs are different. I'm going to leave this up here for you. So you got to figure out which one gets the plus, which one gets the minus. They got to add up to negative 3. Okay, so that means it's negative 4 plus 1. All right, so that's factoring it out. The rest of it, if I had x squared plus 1 equals 0 and I move the plus 1 over, wouldn't that make it a negative 1? Write that down. How about the x squared minus 4? If I move that over, it would make it positive 4, correct? All right, so we got that. All right, so does anybody remember if we were to solve for x right here, how do we get rid of the x squared? What cancels out that square? Square root. All right, what's the square root of positive 1? Just 1, right? What's the square root of negative 1? Y'all remember? 1i. Remember, if it's a negative, if you type in square root of negative 1 in your calculator, it's going to say error because you can't do a negative. So it's just an I. 1i. The negative becomes an I. What about on the other side? Square root of 4 is what? Don't forget it's plus or minus 2, right? So we were supposed to find 4 answers. Did we get 4 answers? Yeah. Right here I've got positive 1i and negative 1i. Right here I got positive 2 and negative 2. So we did get 4 answers. You can leave it plus or minus. Y'all don't have to split them up. All right, so that's a new type problem. That one is normally trouble on the test. And we're only going to do one a day for the next 3 or 4 days. Question. All right, here's a third type new problem. 5 and 6 are the same type problems. So if I show you 5, maybe y'all can do 6. All right, what is new about number 5? It's got something new in it. What is it? It's got a square root. Okay. You can't do quadratic formula unless it's x squared. So we can't do quadratic formula. We got to factor. Anytime you have a square root of x in the middle, guys, you're going to put square root of x in front your options are 1 times 8 or 2 times 4.
Why wouldn't we put the 7 and 8 together?
Say it again.
The 7 and 8, negative 7 and negative 8.
What about,
Well, when you put them together.
why would you put them together? Just like on the last problem when we factored, it's got to multiply to equal the last number, and they got to add up to equal the middle. So the 7 and 8 are going to be separate. All right, so on this one, yeah, 1 and 8 are the only options, right? So I got 1 and 8. Now which one gets the positive, which one gets the negative? Negative on the 8 plus there, good. Because if we subtracted this, 4 minus 2, I would only get 2 in the middle, and we had to get 7. All right, so we're good there. Move plus 1 over. That gives you a negative 1. Move negative 8 over. That gives you positive 8. Last step. You got to get rid of the square root sign, so we're going to square both sides. So what is negative 1 squared going to be if you have it like you're supposed to in parentheses? That's positive 1 for your answer. 8 squared is positive 64 for your answer. All right, now, here's something else new about this problem. These problems, 5 and 6, are the only problems on the whole test that you have to check your answers. Okay, so you could take one, you could plug it in here and here, put it in your calculator and see what it gives you. Or you could trust me, that answer is not going to work. Now, how do I know that's not going to work by not plugging in the calculator? Because I know this guy's from 30 years. If it's a negative before you square it, it's never going to work when you plug it back in. That one's a positive before we squared it. It's going to be fine. So you can learn my shortcut about the negative, or you can plug them both back in and check them both. All right, now, what if we have a problem where that one's a negative, we throw it out, that one's a negative, we throw it out as well? We don't have any answers left. What would you write for your answer on that? No solution. All right, now y'all try number 6 just like we did number 5. Same type of problem. So we begin each problem. Start on synthetic division. You take the first number, and you bring it down below the line. Okay? 2 times 1 is 2. Add them up, you get negative 3 in that spot. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Add them up again, you get negative 10 in that spot. 2 times negative 10 is negative 20. Now, star, your last column should always cancel out if you've done this right. And when it does cancel out, it means that is your first answer for the problem. Okay? Now, look, we're supposed to find 3 answers. Now, somebody in first block asked me this. They said, look, why don't we do this one like we did number 2 and 3? Why don't we take out an X? That's how we did 2 and 3, right? Because there's not an X on that number, so you cannot do it that way, which means we have to do it synthetic division. So from here, star, do quadratic formula, finish it up. I'm going to stop and give you guys a chance to do quadratic formula. All right, so mine worked out because the last column canceled, so my first answer is negative 3. I now plug it into quadratic formula. 4 minus 4 times 1 times 10. All right, and this is where we're going to get to a new step. All right, so I need you guys to type this in your calculator. If you type the square root, it's going to say error, right? Did anybody do that? Should say error if you type it in. What number did y'all get by just typing in the numbers? Negative 36. All right, so look what we've got. 2 plus or minus square root of negative 36. All right, we know from just a few minutes ago that if you have a negative, you're going to bring it out, and it's going to be an I. So square root of 36 is 6, right? So that is going to be 6i. I'm going to erase it and put a 6i there. Starting now, we're going to have eyes on just about every problem. Now, can we finish this out on the calculator? You cannot, because you have an eye. All you can do when you have an eye is divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. It's just simplified. That's all you can do. So that's going to be 1 plus or minus 3i. And you circle that and you're done. Now, we were supposed to find 3 answers. Did we find 3 answers? Yeah. There's 1. My second answer is 1 plus 3i. My third answer is 1 minus 3i. I'm just going to let y'all leave it like that. Okay, I'm not sure if 9 has an I or not. You guys start on 9. I'm going to have to show Star how to do 9. It's got a new step for her. Everybody else should be good. Star, you ready? Try not to lose you. In the box, we got to put 3 over 2. Bless you. All right. Star, this one's different. If you got a fraction in the box, you look at the bottom number. It's a 2. That means before you bring these numbers down on this problem, divide them all by 2. 2 divided by 2, I bring down a 1. This one is a 1, so it's just 1 over 2. 46 divided by 2 is 23. And negative 78 divided by 2 is negative 39. Now, if you forgot to divide them all by 2 before you brought them down, it will still work sometimes, but not all the time. All right, now we just do it the normal way. Start, I bring down my 1. 1 times 3 over 2 is 3 over 2. Now you add them up in your calculator. We got 1 over 2 plus 3 over 2. Nipper's going to give me that answer. 2. And Nipper got 2. All right, now take your calculator again. 2 times 3 over 2. See what it gives you.
3.
Okay, when it says 3, that's correct. I can add these up and get 26. All right, for the last one, we'll take 26 times 3 over 2. And we get 39. And we knew it was going to equal 39 anyway because it had to cancel out. All right, so you guys do quadratic formula. Let's see what you get. It's not on me. You can walk around.
Is the box going?
Is it paused? Oh.